Ready to go?
Yes,
All right, get the light for us, please.
perfect.
That was too quick. I didn't even finish my sentence.
Well, we ready tonight.
Hello, world. We're back.
Hey,
This
everybody.
is an original late night podcast, episode 23, I believe.
Yes.
It's another one. So hopefully, for those tuned in, put your seatbelts on. It'll be a smooth ride, but hopefully we get something out of it. So
Yes.
don't go anywhere. Don't touch that dial, as they say. Till we finish. Then share it, like it, comment.
Subscribe. Ooh, yeah.
But yeah,
Well, well,
how are we
well.
feeling today? Speak for us. I think last
Okay.
time you said I spoke for us at the end.
I did. I don't know if I asked you how you were last time.
I don't know either.
But anywho,
No chair crackling. So we get upgraded seats and you can move around.
yeah, we need to upgrade. But anyhow, we are doing well. We are good because we are just walking, we're taking things day by day and just really putting our faith into action. And I think that's exciting for us. Now, in this current moment, I would say we're a little sleepy, but but nonetheless, we're good.
Glad to hear that. We're good too. Even though I know you're speaking for both of us, but we is definitely it can mean I.
Yeah.
How we doing today?
How we doing today?
But yeah, we doing good. I agree with that. I don't know if I'm sleepy now. I was sleep, but I got up. It's like once I get up, I think I'm up until I end up falling asleep again. But I'm not gonna fall asleep in the middle of this. So
I
yeah,
had to wake up, but the temperature is starting to drop. I don't know where you guys are located, but it's cooling down over here. And that's enough to keep you awake when I had to leave my blanket out this time.
it's relative though, because wherever people are, it just depends.
Yeah.
For some people, this ain't cold, for real, for real. But for us, it is. It's definitely dropped a lot. A little warmer today and yesterday, but still cold.
Yeah. Still cozy enough.
But yeah. So we'll dive right into this podcast today. I think we
Hmm.
do that every time. But so I have a question.
All right.
It might be the catalyst, I guess, for the episode, but we'll
Mm.
see where it takes us.
Okay, let me.
And you don't have to answer it. I can answer it first, but just kind of based on like I guess just some of the conversations obviously we've had this week, last week. That's pretty much what gives us I think the content, even if we don't take those conversations and bring them straight here, but we have thoughts that sometimes we do bring back up. But literally just based on kind of what we've been talking about, thinking about, question that pops in my mind or that came to mind actually right before we got on here is what does freedom mean to you? And I kind of was thinking to myself, but I didn't really answer it. But I was just like, wow, that's like a pretty, vast kind of question, you
Yeah.
know. Um, and I mean, that's something that could mean so many things to so many different people, you know. But but yeah, I mean, the question, I guess, just to give some context, is just reflecting on like I guess history and just considering what so many different people have gone through. I mean, in their own life, maybe to feel like there's still a level of freedom that they hope to, one day achieve, you know, or feel or experience, even
Hmm.
going back all the way generations ago that we didn't see, but we only hear about, knowing that people literally went through things or were held back or were oppressed or were, limited, or, it could be financially, it could be culturally, you know what I mean? There's so many different ways in which even freedom could probably kind of be defined. But I
Yeah.
think, there is an ultimate freedom, I think, too, that maybe everybody doesn't see it that way, but if we were all to experience it, we would know, oh, this is freedom.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But maybe that's some context to the thought. But yeah. So if you want to go first, but if not, I can keep running my
Are
mouth.
you eager to go first?
Nah, you can go first.
Because you can.
Well, I'll just answer a little bit because I feel like it's vast, so it's not just one answer. But what did I say? What is freedom, or what does freedom mean to me?
Yes.
Um, I guess attempting to define freedom for myself would be like, and not just for me, but if I just think about the concept of it, I mean, I guess it's in some ways kind of like having what you want, but not literally just selfishly what you want, but like what you were really created to want, that sometimes we don't even know until we discover or realize it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so maybe somewhat by that definition, um, I don't know, freedom to me would probably mean not having to endure things maybe um, that otherwise would be almost like just normal.
Yeah.
Like in life, we kind of get used to having to go through certain things, and we kind of get used to having, almost not having to, but dealing with things in a way that we kind of just almost like we just blow things off. Like it's not really that big a deal, but really it's like we wish we didn't have to deal with it at all. That makes sense.
Could you give an example?
Yeah. So like, I mean, it could be something. I'll just start in a simple, practical way, but like traffic. Like we turn the music up, roll the windows down, just ride around. you know, maybe not the best example, but really some people might really hate traffic and get stressed out, and then you got people honking at you, people maybe being mean in traffic. But at a certain point you get to a place where you're like, it's just traffic, whatever. And you just try to act like I got to get to work, so I have to drive through the traffic.
Mm-hmm.
But if like life, there's a form of traffic, let's just say, where a lot of unpredictable things happen, like you might get sick, people pass away, you know. Um, I don't know, you miss out on an opportunity, and as a result, you feel bad because you feel like you deserved it, or maybe you just really wanted it, you know what I mean? But like maybe at a certain point, like freedom is not having to go through those things, and it's just like you just have that constant fulfillment, you know, but not like just worldly fulfillment, but it's something deeper, to where even if you did go through things, they're really not phasing you. You don't have to act like you don't care or try to get over it. Like you're already free, fulfilled. I don't know.
I feel like you're describing it from a place of like that's the type of freedom that you have to achieve in your mind because
Mm.
because things will happen in life, but if we take on or bear all of those things, even as something as simple as driving through traffic every day, I think that's our perception of um what we what we have defined freedom as, because it's just in our mind. Like traffic doesn't bother, may not bother one person the same way that it bothers somebody else.
Of course,
And
that's more so like an example of like from a practical standpoint of like what happens in traffic, in the midst of traffic, is unpredictable.
Mm-hmm.
But you know you're gonna have to deal with traffic. Like, that's inevitable. You live in a certain place.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not so much me saying like traffic is the issue as much as like the analogy of like in life, like certain things are inevitable and they're unpredictable.
I think our response would even have us to dictate, though, maybe like how free we really are from that standpoint.
I don't disagree. But I think everybody in some way, shape, or form copes with things. We're
Mm-hmm.
not fully like free from feeling it.
Yeah.
That's in my opinion. But, you know, just because one person copes with it better.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't mean it's not to, you know, discredit the work that they've done to really know how to like deal with something. But it's also like an effort that goes into learning and knowing how to deal with something,
Mm-hmm.
which might translate to less energy used to deal with it because it's more of a knowing to your point of the mind. But it's still like it takes work to get to that place.
Absolutely.
So is that freedom? Maybe. I guess you got to work for your freedom.
Yeah.
I mean, to your point. But nah, I'm listening to you though. I just want to make sure you like it ain't really about traffic, but you know,
Yeah. I'm just taking the example that,
yeah,
you have. But
that's what happens when it's late. But yeah,
I think with what you're saying, um, I mean, I'm also kind of hearing the answer that I have mixed in a little bit too, which is the fact that I feel like freedom, or what it means to me is, I would say, I would say probably the just having the option or the right to choose and make your own decisions without anybody else like placing their limitations on you or their judgment on you. Um, or in short, just what freedom means to me is having options, because it does allow, us to choose. And if we choose one thing or another, at least then it becomes on us to be okay with whatever maybe consequences come as a result, good or bad, because we can take consequences to mean like it's only a bad thing. Um, so I don't know. I just feel like if I'm using your traffic example, if I if I don't have the option to choose which way I'm gonna go to get to work or school or something like that, and I have to sit in traffic to get to where I'm going every day, I might not feel like I'm free because I don't have the option to go a different direction. Um, or and that can feel, you know, limiting. Um, so even as it pertains to other people, or if I'm drawing a parallel with bringing people into the picture, I just feel like, we get to decide what we want to do with our lives ultimately, and having just the liberation to know that we can make whatever decision we want to make. I think that is kind of like the ultimate freedom. Um, but I do think along with that choice does come our response, where we still have to kind of know that even if we do have the option to choose, we still have to kind of answer to whatever comes with that decision that we make. Um,
yeah,
and I don't think anything's wrong with that, because the basis is just the simple fact that if I chose this, this is the direction that I want to go in, and I get to do that.
Yeah.
So if it's on a person, if you don't agree with that, that's not really on me because I'm free enough to have chosen this option. If it comes to a case where it could be something like money, for example, um, which is probably a huge thing for most people, if not maybe all of us, it's like if you don't have the option to choose what kind of car you want, for example, because of money, like that doesn't feel, you don't feel free for real because you don't get to have options.
Well, let me jump in for a second.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, to that point, that to me, that would be financial freedom. Financial freedom is not bad, but it's like if you're only free because of something else that is dollars are physical, cents, uh, pounds, etc. But I don't know. I mean, to me, it's still like it's a concept, but it's a physical thing in a way. So it's like, is that actual freedom? In my own opinion as well, I guess I'm trying to say. And this is just me thinking like, how somebody else might even think about it. Not saying that I disagree. But even with you saying like freedom to choose, but like, are you making your decisions based on your own free thought? Or are you making a decision based on what you saw somebody else do? Or a direction you saw somebody else go in? Or, you know what I mean? So it's like you think like, yeah, you're making your decision, or you get to make your decision free from somebody else's opinion, but are you making it free from somebody else's decision? If that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, I'm just asking, like, is that freedom? If yeah, you get to choose, but you're choosing based off of influence, you being influenced by something. Or yeah, you feel free if you're using a financial or the money example, but you feel free or you are free because of this thing. Like, is that true freedom?
I mean, if we're adding true in front of
Well,
it,
I'm only
then
adding true because I mean, I feel like you saying these things are free, but you got to deal with the consequences. But you got to, not the consequences have to be bad, like you said, but you know, or yeah, you're free if you can choose. If you have the money to choose, you're free. To me, those are like freedom that are attached, types of freedom that are attached to like an external or whatever you call that, like a caveat. I don't know if that's the right word, but there's it's only true if this is the case.
mm-hmm. I mean, I definitely think it's an intrinsic thing that you have to have. And as far as coming to the realization of what true or real freedom is, I think that that might be a journey
Yeah.
that one has to go on to really know that, oh, I'm not just free because I have more or less amount of dollars, or
Yeah.
I'm not just free because I have X amount of people around me and it feels this way. But I do think there was something you said in your response not too long ago,
Hmm.
but I do think a part of just this life even still comes with the working for or like towards something.
Yeah.
Um,
That's a fact. Yeah.
because even having freedom, for example, it's like we even if even if there's no maybe tangible object we can get, but we have to, even if we recognize something, we would even have to work away from other people's opinions and influences and all that so that we could come to our own selves and know like what truly makes me free, or like how am I free, or why am I free. And I think you I think you do know that when you realize that you I think part of it physically is knowing like you do have the option and you can make that decision, as opposed to knowing, you can't make the decision because you have to depend on people, or you only rely on money or whatever materials. You don't necessarily believe in yourself, or you don't necessarily have that intrinsic motivation to guide you in a certain direction.
Yeah.
So, like I was saying, I think on one end there is the actual physical part of obtaining that freedom, and then I think there is the part that takes place on the inside of you to know that you can experience like real freedom, even if a situation or circumstance on the outside doesn't look a certain way.
Yeah. Um, I mean, yeah, that's good. I mean, me saying real freedom, I mean, that's not to disregard the question was still, what does it mean to you? But, when I kind of responded, or when I said what I thought, kind of, you said that you think that my version, not to say that's literally my only thoughts about it, but, because I think it's very vast. But my version is something that basically you would have to kind of, you know, it means what it means to the specific individual, and you would have to work through, you know, what you say, like what that basically means in your mind. In a
Mm-hmm.
sense, I mean, I'm not saying literally, but I think something to the tune of that. I don't know, slave, but, but so to me, I'm like, no, I'm not. It's not really. I don't feel like it's just something to work through in your mind. I feel like that's what it is. It's just how we look like we express it, or how everybody goes about expressing it is what it is for them. And we can say, oh, that's different. That's different. Looking at different people and how they respond to traffic, for example. But it's like, no, the reality is like nobody loves traffic. You know what I mean? Like, it's just somebody has worked to the place that they've been able to appear that they have peace, or they've been able to keep themselves at ease, you know. But I feel like true freedom is you don't have to work for that, in my opinion. You know what I mean? So I was just like, kind of, you gave your answer, so I wanted to test it a little.
True freedom is not working for that, but I think we have to work to that so that we no longer
No,
have to work for it.
I agree. I'm just saying the reason why I
Mm,
was rebuttaling to yours was because you said what you said about mine.
yeah, I follow.
But yeah, I agree. I mean, we're nothing that we're saying is outside of the playing field. I feel like that's that's the whole point. Like, freedom has, I feel like, different meanings for different people, and it's probably all true for everybody. It's just depending on what we're experiencing in any given moment. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or what we've kind of shaped as what, what's important to us thus far. You know,
And true, I don't know. Maybe true freedom might actually
just
be.
freedom. It don't even got to be true. If it ain't true, it's a lie.
Well, freedom really might be just recognizing who you are for real. Because once you do that, and that's the place that you're operating from,
Hmm.
it's it's no longer contingent on the person or the environment or the things or whatever other thing that could possibly present itself um, as an influence or a temptation like in our lives. And I just feel like that is what, like you said, it is vast, but if I'm just coming at it from another angle, but I think that's probably what freedom really is, because then it is, like you said, you don't have to work towards nothing. Like, this is who you are.
Yeah.
Like, this is how you think. This is how you respond. This is how you view the world. There is no, there's nothing else to consider for real.
I don't think you should have to work for your freedom.
Yeah.
But obviously, in life, we do. Oftentimes.
And maybe we already have it. It's just we don't think that way because of all the other things that we have been taught or influenced by that would have us to believe otherwise, that you're not, you know, free to do nothing else because all of these other obligations take up your time.
Yeah.
But, you know, in reality, I mean, if we can think it, we can achieve it.
But if you have a limited amount of time, are you free?
It depends.
Because that's like, I don't think, to me, there's no way.
I feel like we would have to
If it's
define
if it's limited,
if we,
because you're saying something taking up your time, but I'm saying if stuff is taking your time up.
and that's where just I think it gets intricate with
Mhm.
wording. Because if we're looking at something as it taking up our time,
Yeah,
we're already telling ourselves we're limited on time.
that's what I'm saying.
So you're right. Because it's like if you got 5 minutes to do anything, something
Mm-hmm.
to just chip away at whatever it is you're trying to do,
Mm-hmm.
if you tell yourself, or somebody asks you maybe about it and you're like, oh, I only ever have 5 minutes a day to myself, but you're the one who's acting like you don't got nothing else but
Yeah,
that 5
or
minutes.
like that's all the time you have.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but that that's the game changer if you allow it to be.
All right, so let's nah, it's a lot. Let's make it. It don't have to be, but it's definitely something I think to think about. And kind of reflect. Maybe on even how we've gotten to the place where we are, depending on where you are, listeners, like literally where you live, but even just maybe your family or cultural history or whatever. Like just reflecting on what freedom maybe has looked like across, I don't know, freaking generations to now. Like, what does that mean to you? And like, why? Like, if you were to define that, like, how did you arrive on that place? Not just because you felt some kind of way when you woke up and you did it based on that, but even if you could think back and then kind of look into the future, think about your goals or think about, what maybe your purpose is if you've discovered that or started to, go down that path of discovery and see if, you can kind of come up with like, what does you being free look like? Right? I don't know. But I was gonna say if we can make it somewhat practical to like a person. Obviously everybody's not the same, but like what does somebody need to do? Maybe 3 things. We can both chip in and what does somebody need to do? What do the listeners, including us, need to do to like gain freedom in time? It don't have to be overnight.
Well,
I can name. I'll go first
go.
unless you have something. I don't want to put you on the spot.
I have an answer, but you go
I'll go.
first.
No, go.
Your first one might be good.
I don't have one.
Oh.
I just didn't want to put you on the spot.
So, oh, that's so sweet.
Okay. Yeah, we pushing it. This is not that kind of podcast. Nah, I'm just playing.
First, I would have to say you need to find out who you are.
True. And what does that mean? If you can give them a little more.
Getting to know yourself. What triggers you, what doesn't, what moves you, what doesn't. Those things. Because I think the more we find those things out, we can go more in a direction of what feels more aligned to us and step away from the things that are not aligned with that. Or we could even challenge the things that again trigger us or move us a certain way to find out why those things, why do we respond that way to things. I think that would be a good step because that would definitely take us in a direction to where we can move towards being and feeling more liberated within ourselves even, and seeing that response in our environment.
That's a good one. I think to add to it though, I would say if it's moving you in a direction of like doing good, you know what I mean? Because I think people need to hear that, like being free, for example, if we're starting at, if that's like the ultimate thing that we're, you know, building towards with these three things, let's say, just kind of being moved or triggered. Obviously, I know what you mean, but you know, I don't want people to hear that and like, well, I'm moved by this, so I'm free. But now they wonder why, you know, as a result, they don't see the outcome they want to see, you know. Sometimes the things that probably do or should move us, like we need to spend more time even in what that is, like not just finding ourselves in a place where we're moved by something, but we don't want to be moved by that, or we don't care to spend the time in that, or don't care to understand that. So, you know, I don't know. I feel like if I'm making any sense, like we redefine sometimes what those things are. Well, like this is just me, so this is just you know, like of course we are who we are, but make sure you're moving in a direction of good, and that is of use to the world and you know the environment around you. Like not to the extent that you're drained by giving yourself entirely to everything and everybody just to save the world, but you know definitely like moved by a sense of purpose. And if it's something that triggers you negatively, like knowing that that's what you need to move away from, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to speak for you, but I feel like
Yeah.
if that further clarifies, because somebody, we might have a young listener, you know,
Mm-hmm.
so, or a couple, and that's fine. So y'all can learn too. But yeah, that's good. Getting to know yourself, knowing yourself, right? No,
Finding out who you are
all right. So find out who you
and
are.
getting to know yourself. Yeah.
Know that self.
Yes.
Um, I didn't think of one because I'm running my mouth about yours, but if the first one is to get to know yourself, the second one can be to listen to yourself. If you're getting to know yourself, I would think that you're filling yourself up, which we said this, I think, on the last podcast, with the right things, like taking time out daily to meditate, pray, listen to things that are edifying, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So at a certain point, like you shouldn't question if you know what your intention is and it's good. Like you just have to practice it. Like practice doing good and then practice doing better, you know? Don't just get stuck on good. Like I would say just continue to turn the intensity up of what you're doing. If you're practicing, you should be getting better at it. And if it's working, as I've heard other, you know, great people say, like people that are successful in that field, if it works, then you know you got something. If it's not working, then you might need to go back and make some adjustments, do some more learning. I don't know. Find another source of information maybe and keep studying. But listen to yourself, I think, in a sense. Like if you're on a good path, um, I don't doubt that, you know, like do good. When you think of doing something good, do it. Like if it's something you can do in the moment. But I don't know if you have anything to add or to help me.
Well, I think that ties into honestly the third thing I was gonna say is that you do have to do it. Like you have
Sure.
to apply it
Yeah.
as you're getting to know yourself, as you're paying attention and listening, to things that are helping you to understand that more. Um, you you do have to apply that,
Yeah.
and you do have to, you know, have the courage to stay in that, and anything that comes up against whatever it is for you, you have to be bold enough to not like waver or, back down, because ultimately you know what direction you're going in, you know what's good for you, or you're starting to recognize like the purpose that you have, and that you intend to move with purpose, and um that starts to open up a more healthy way of doing things and a healthy way of thinking. But it it's not gonna come without the challenges. So I think, the more we practice, the more you practice, the stronger you get, and the more concrete you become in those things, and more confident in who you are for sure as well.
Yeah.
So that was what I was thinking. You just kind of tied it in.
So I mean, freedom, in essence, if not to say the third thing is the answer, but I like it. Like, I mean, by doing more of what that thing is, I mean, I do believe that is something that does lead to freedom.
Mm-hmm.
But to get on that path of doing, I would say even more so doing you, like know you, um, listen to you, and do you, like not ignorantly, meaning not just in the sense of like I'm not listening to anybody. Like I said, fill yourself up from the right sources, whether it be mentor, speakers, teachers, pastors, lawyers. Like learn from people that
Mm-hmm.
not just know things, but know things about what it is you're aiming to do, or that are saying positive things, or that have a track record of, I guess being a leader, and being a great teacher in what it is that they're doing. I guess it doesn't have to just be another person. Again, you can listen to quiet. You can just go outside and lay in the grass, and I still think that's a form of being edified. If you're seeking peace, in those moments, but praying, obviously, asking God to literally direct your steps. Everybody might not say that they hear from him immediately, but have patience. And keep going down the path. But
Mm-hmm.
essentially, yeah, getting to the path of doing it. I think we probably mentioned that before, but with these three specific steps, I do believe like that doing it is, if it's not literally freedom, it's like the expression of that in life.
Yeah.
You know, like as close as we probably can get until the day we do wake up and like it is like, all right, none of that stuff matters. I'm free.
Yeah.
But I believe it's achievable though. That's not all to say I don't think it's possible. So I do. I believe it's achievable. Do you?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Keep giving me the side eye, so either I'm running my mouth or you're tired or I'm
No,
not
no.
making sense.
No, I'm just listening. I'm listening. I agree.
It's a podcast.
Mm.
You don't get to just listen. Otherwise, I'm in a tough spot. But yeah, I think that was good. I mean, it's definitely a lot. Like we could probably organize some of these thoughts and like have a way more articulate, at least for me, that delivery of what we're saying. But I don't know, it's kind of freeing sometimes to just like work through the thoughts and
Yes.
talk about them,
Be
talk about it,
yourself.
make them talk about it. All right.
See, I got excited, but we had to say that.
Yeah, be you and be great and be free. All right.
Yes.
All right. Well, I think we got him. We left him with it was a good little.
Yeah, that was good. That was good. That was good. Make sure you write down those 3 steps so that you can start to dive into them. And we, how do I word this? Where, we hope, everybody just going on their journey that, you get connected with the right things, the right people, the right resources as you, go on this walk. So,
Do you have a hotline for them?
yes,
The
you
hotline
can.
is an original late night podcast.
Exactly.
Just like you said, subscribe to the channel, and we're gonna keep the positivity, teaching. I would say information, but whatever you want to call it, we're gonna keep it flowing. The blessings, as we hear it in our spirit, we're gonna share it, and hopefully incite some type of thought and inspire some type of action.
Yes.
Um, But yeah, I was gonna say the 3 steps to freedom one more time. Not the only 3, but these are 3 things maybe if you consider and apply and, spend time with, maybe you can, go down that path sooner. If not, become stronger in, what you already are doing. So know thyself. I'm paraphrasing it.
Okay.
Know thyself, love thyself. I said listen, but I think love, because it's like you got to spend that time with yourself in a place of gaining that, kind of reassurance, confidence in who you are, and then do you
Yep.
and be free.
Be free.
All right, well, that's all we got. We're going to see y'all when we see you, and
Thanks for tuning in.
have a good night. Love you.